Good morning, everybody. I'd like to kindly invite you all to take your seats so that we can get to a prompt start. We have a very packed agenda today, so we want to make sure that we can dedicate the time we've allocated to everybody. I think there are a few more people trickling in from the coffee room. I'll let them take their seats before we get underway. Excellent. So I think we can get started. A very good morning to you all. Welcome to those of you here in person in Dublin and to those of you joining us online to the joint final conference of the Energy Community Repository and the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub, two sister initiatives of the European Commission which have been supporting energy communities across Europe for the last almost 2 years. This final conference today is taking place back to back with two other events here in Dublin. The first was on Wednesday, the regulatory roundtable on EU consumer policy involving EU countries, energy regulators and other EU level stakeholders. And yesterday we celebrated the 15th edition of the Citizen Energy Forum, where we heard from a variety of speakers, including European Energy Commissioner Kadri Simon, Irish Minister for Energy and Climate Eamon Ryan, and a wealth of other citizen interest groups and a wide range of businesses, NGOs who are working on topics related to energy consumers. I'm delighted to see many faces who have been participating in both of those days. Some rather tired faces I see, but I trust that has nothing to do with the Guinness and the whiskies in the pubs, but rather through your intense participation in both sessions. But in any case, I'm sure we'll be hearing more of the content and the conclusions and the takeaways of those previous days in some of the presentations and discussions which will be coming. Before I get started on introducing our agenda, I'd like to run you all through the housekeeping rules. Excellent. This event is being recorded, so just please do be conscious of that. We haven't scheduled an alarm, so indeed, if you do hear it going, please do follow the signs to the nearest fire escape. The toilets are just behind the bar before you get to the President's room, and indeed, the coffee breaks will be here in the President's room, in the bar. And lunch will be taking place further back in the President's room. The Wi-Fi is open. If you do have any issues connecting, do let one of the technical team know, please. And perhaps I can run you briefly through our agenda for today. We'll be having a number of keynote speeches to get us kick-started and contextualize the two initiatives and indeed the legal and policy context. Then we'll be hearing a bit more in depth from the coordinators of the two initiatives about why they were established, what activities they've been carrying out, and what the outputs have been. Then we have three sessions to discuss different themes. One will be on stakeholder engagement, the second will be on business models and legal forms, the third will be on the social role of energy communities, and we'll be having a conclusory discussion also on the future of energy communities. Throughout the course of today, we want to ensure you're as engaged and alert as possible. Crucially, we want to be hearing your views and your thoughts, even if you won't be sitting here on the stage with us. Your opinions certainly matter to us, and the way in which we'll be trying to engage with you is of course not new to most of you, but we'll be using Slido. So I'd like to invite you to already try to give it a trial run and connect. I'd like to run through an initial question with you all. You can, of course, scan the barcode with your camera, or if you're going online, to type in the code there. It's 2735659. Good. Perhaps we can go on to the Slido poll now and kick off with our very first poll. So, on a scale of 1 to 5, we want to know how optimistic you are about the future of energy communities. 1 being that you're rather hopeless, you see no future, and they will be playing zero role in our futures in whatever dimension that will be, or our other 5 indicates that you think that they will be our savior and address many, if not all, of our energy transition related concerns. Seeing quite an optimistic start so far. I also very much invite our participants online to give their thoughts as well. There is somebody who put that they see no future for energy communities. I sincerely hope that was a misunderstanding of what 1 meant. But if indeed you see no future for energy communities, we want to know why. So please remain participating and give us insights into your pessimistic thoughts. But okay, the vast majority are very optimistic. Only few people think that it will really be our savior. But we hope after the discussions today, we can skew a little bit further towards the number 5. But in any case, I want to move on to our keynote speakers. So our first keynote speaker will be Achille Hannoset. Achille works in DG ENER's unit for consumers, local initiatives and just transition. He's been very lucky to be part of a team following up on the implementation of the recast of the Electricity Market Directive in the Clean Energy for All Europeans package, and indeed the forthcoming adoption of the proposed reforms of the electricity market design. And he's generally responsible for all topics related to consumer empowerment across all energy markets. And Achille has also been the project officer for both of these 2 initiatives for almost the last 2 years. And with that, I'm delighted to welcome you, Achille, please.
Yes, thank you so much, Pouyan, for that kind introduction. So indeed, the project officer of these projects, and it's been a true pleasure of mine to be involved in these projects, also with the consortia managing on behalf of the European Commission the initiatives and implementing the activities, and we will see an overview of them throughout the day. We will learn from the practical examples that were identified, and we will also learn about the experiences of the technical assistance received. Now, before that, I of course want to welcome you all to this joint closing conference. I'm very pleased to see so many faces that I already know, but also some of you that I haven't seen before. And that means that the energy community topic is being taken up, and that more and more people generally have an interest and an awareness of this topic. And with this awareness, I think also the future of energy communities will be impacted, and we will see them accelerate and be more predominant across the energy system, hopefully. Now, I would like to thank the Commission for Regulation of Utilities and the Irish Ministry for organizing this event as well, to support us with the venue. Today is the last day in a series of 3 events focusing on consumers and citizens. It was already mentioned. We had the regulatory roundtable where we discussed what can be done from an EU regulatory point of view, but also national regulatory point of view, to make consumers more adapted to the energy transition, to a decarbonized energy future, but also to take stock of the lessons learned stemming from the energy crisis. And we've seen through private initiatives of key stakeholders like the Enhanced Protection Joint Declaration on Enhanced Consumer Protection, that there is a willingness in these exceptional times of energy crisis, and to some extent we are still in the energy crisis, we're still witnessing the effects, still the prices are higher than the pre-crisis prices. So we need to see and look how we can move these temporary measures to protect the consumers into structural measures that we include in our regulatory frameworks, whether that's at EU level or national level or even local level. And with that, of course, the electricity market design is key to highlight here. The negotiations are currently ongoing. Our commissioner pledged during yesterday's Citizens Energy Forum that the negotiations on this directive will be concluded by the end of this year still. And I think this can be much welcomed because a lot of the proposals that are being made by the Commission are structural reforms that are rooted in experience and solutions that we have identified during the energy crisis that helped consumers to manage their energy bills. And in this regard, of course, we need to be mindful of disconnections, for example, transparent communication of information, primarily on price setting, making sure that unilateral changes, random changes by retail suppliers are avoided. All of these practices we've seen during the energy crisis emerging, and for those who can carry the cost of the energy crisis, that is fine, but of course for the energy poor and vulnerable, or those that are at risk of going into energy poverty, this is highly problematic. These are highly problematic practices, and of course we need to regulate against them. So we really see that the energy crisis provided us an opportunity to rethink how we protect and empower consumers, and it really gave us a push to accelerate everything and to move to a consumer-centric energy system. And when we talk about a consumer-centric energy system, I think there cannot be any doubt in our minds that energy communities are an integral part of such a future vision. This is also explicitly recognized in the recent recommendation on energy poverty by the European Commission, where it's highlighted and the member states are called upon to effectively implement the EU frameworks under the Clean Energy Package for energy communities. The Fit for 55 package, the electricity market design reform, are taking important steps in improving the energy communities framework by enabling energy sharing and recognizing their potential in district heating, renewable gas, energy efficiency, and offshore wind. To help deliver on the EU solar energy strategy, political target of one energy community per municipality with more than 10,000 citizens by 2025, we need to implement this legislation, but we also need to provide practical support on the ground. And this is what these two initiatives have done for the past 2 years. We have the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub and the Energy Communities Repository, both delivering on behalf of the European Commission technical assistance to about 55, direct technical assistance to 55 energy communities across 14 EU member states. And now is the time for me to explicitly thank the consortia managing these EU projects for their unwavering dedication and efforts in helping energy communities emerge and get off on the ground. And for this, of course, from the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub side, I would like to thank Ricardo, Ekoris, and Elart. And from the repository side, I want to thank Rescoop Energy Cities, Federin Akarion, and Florence School of Regulation for their efforts and their very good work to make these projects a reality on the ground and to make the energy transition tangible for people on the ground, for communities, for citizens. This is no longer a high-level debate. No, debates are taking place in cafes. People are coming together and they're exploring what energy means in their life and how they can leverage it for even environmental or social, but even economic purposes in today's energy crisis climate. Now, today's event, I already said it, will allow us to take stock of the work that has been done to support energy communities through these EU projects. We can learn from good practices and explore their future role and potential. I wish you all an inspiring discussion, and I look forward to hear speakers and audience input on how we can help energy communities to become an integral part of a consumer-centric energy system of the future. Thank you very much.
Many thanks indeed, Achille, also for your hard work as part of those two initiatives. We wouldn't have got where we are without your attent and commitment as well. So our success is also your success. So many thanks indeed. Interesting also that you mentioned that by the end of the year, as Kadri Simon mentioned to us yesterday, that the discussions and the reforms of the electricity market design will be concluded, hopefully by the end of the year. I'm sure many of us in this room and online will be following attentively, so best of luck also with that. Our next keynote speaker is Ruth Buggie. She is the program manager in the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, with responsibility for developing a new community energy strategy and managing the education and youth programs. Ruth has developed a model for the Sustainable Energy Communities Programme to support the development of a community approach to energy and to stimulate a national move towards sustainable energy practice through demonstration in exemplar communities. This programme now very impressively hosts over 800 communities. And with that, I'd like to introduce Ruth. Please take the floor.
Good morning. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to the joint final conference, and a big thank you to Myriam and Achille for asking me to do this talk this morning. I might not be feeling thankful right now, but I do appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'll be explaining a little bit about me and the organisation I work for, what we did, what we found worked, and what we think we should need to consider for the future to help inform later on the conversation. But welcome to Ireland for those of you that are visiting, and welcome to the RDS. This is a very familiar location for SEAI in that we host an annual energy show here every year. So if you get a chance to look out, all of that hall behind you there and the hall behind that again is full of energy companies all trying to be more sustainable, and it's a 2-day event. So if you're ever here at that time, it's a great show to attend. This is the room we actually host our Women in Energy event, so that's another version of an energy community. I know acronyms are really important to European projects, and our acronym just happened to be WINE. That might be a little bit hurtful for some people but this morning, but yeah, Women in Energy actually works out quite well for us. But if you're interested, we're on LinkedIn. So in terms of a little bit about myself, so I work in the Sustainable Energy Authority of Ireland, and I have done for 18 years. So a little bit about what SEI is for anyone that isn't too familiar. We're Ireland's national energy authority with a mission to be at the heart of delivering Ireland's energy revolution. So as mentioned, I'm now trying to develop a community energy strategy, and all of these events have been so useful in trying to orientate thinking towards that and how it'll work. And I maintain my role as the Youth and Education Programme Manager as well. I've worked with community-based organisations since my first day in SEAI. My first role was the low-income housing programme, which was about addressing energy poverty, so it was delivering services to those most in need. At the time, 100% of the services we offered were delivered through community-based organisations, and they leveraged local employment schemes. So we covered the cost of just the material and some overheads, and they actually provided the labour, and it meant we were doing homes for about €1,000 a go. It meant we could do twice as much work with very limited funds. But the value, the ambition and the capacity of those community-based organisations to respond to the challenges of energy poverty for the benefit of others has stayed with me throughout my time in SEAI. And I know what we do is difficult, and I know it's hard to convince people to be involved. But when you're taking somebody who is otherwise unemployed, training them up to go into somebody else's dusty, dirty attic on a summer's day to put in insulation for no benefit for themselves and to be working for no more than what you would get for not working, that's challenging. This feels an awful lot easier to do. So I just think that ambition that community organisations have to drive change is so incredible. So an opportunity arose in 2015 to restart the Sustainable Energy Communities Programme. We'd initially started as the EU research project, which had wrapped up in 2012. It was a concerto holistic project, and it was the focus of that was to try to work with municipal authorities to deliver change at a local level. It focused on small city type structures, and it was to try and see how future energy targets could be demonstrated on the ground. So at the time of the project in 2006, it was trying to demonstrate what the 2020 targets would look like and how those could be achieved at a community level. The engagement for communities at the time was for the purpose of gaining buy-in and participation rather than for any kind of project delivery or ownership. So all the delivery was through kind of local authorities or the commercial sector. It created a great living lab and a test bed for a number of programmes in SEI, and a lot was learnt, but it wasn't terribly transferable or inclusive enough. So in 2015, we set about trying to develop a programme that would bring communities into the process of projects around energy efficiency delivery and to develop capacity at a local level to deepen the impacts of these projects and to transfer knowledge into the community. The policy that underpinned the programme at that time was to engage and enable the energy citizen through community action. We had that in our energy white paper, and I think it stands to us today that that's still one of our guiding principles. Our intent was to move the dial from doing to communities to doing with, and ultimately to being led by communities. Our first step was to build a peer-to-peer learning network of sustainable energy communities, and today we're at the 800 nearly figure. In that network is growing by about 100 to 120 per year. We don't actively drive that. It's kind of we're there, we'll take it on. It's not a limit. It's broadly a target for us. We have mentors on the ground who are encouraging participation, but we're very lucky in that many communities are coming forward to us. We do have a final target in government policy of 1,500 communities by 2030. Interestingly, according to Wikipedia, there's 1,500 towns, villages and cities in all of Ireland, so that's just everybody that we have to get by 2030, if we believe Wikipedia. So while this target is a challenge in terms of how do we keep communities interested and involved, and we haven't cracked that yet, so we really want to learn and see how other community groups have done that. From a policy perspective, we're really lucky to have had a role to play across the key policy areas of citizen energy communities, renewable energy communities and active energy citizens. These policies didn't exist when the programme set up. So the challenge is that these are emerging in different ways and presenting different challenges. Our SEI programme initially was viewed as a way to reach energy citizens and encourage participation in a wide range of grant programmes. That's why SEI is funding the role that I do. But that isn't enough anymore. We need a lot more supports for communities. What we hear from communities, and I heard it again this morning, is that they need more technical and project management resources to help guide and deliver the projects. So we hear you, we know, and we're trying to find solutions to that. They also want to spend their time engaging and working on projects and less time making multiple grant applications just to keep operating from year to year. Some have reported that up to 75% of their time is spent on grant applications just to keep core services running. Parachuting in support can only work for so long. Communities want to develop their own local capacity. Delivering energy projects is hard, and it's hard for people who do it full-time for a salary. There's a balance for every community to work out what they have available to them in terms of skills and what they are missing, and we need to fill those gaps with them. So to the future, here are some of the key learnings that I've found that might help inform the later session, or possibly everybody already knows them. The value of being honest and trustworthy with communities, being honest about what you have. What I would say is if we'd waited for all the policy to be right, we still wouldn't have started. So we'd be missing 800 communities. So we've started, we're working with people. As the policy emerges, we can communicate that, we can grow, we can learn together. So one of the challenges I had was when I started out, there was a lot of challenges in the wind industry in Ireland, and I had to be really careful that I wasn't seen as trying to get wind into communities by stealth. That was a challenge because that was a policy thing at the time. So being really honest, I'm here to help you find what projects work for you. Totally agnostic about what that technology is. So to be impartial and to try and drive changes in policy to support the level of community ambition that is there. Often policymakers don't get the opportunity to hear the level of community interest and ambition, so it can take time to convince them that they are interested, and we just need to make it possible. Support the community in what they want to achieve in whatever way can align with the low carbon transition. Motivations vary, and that's okay. Be structured but flexible. It's a seesaw, continuously moving and tilting as programmes and policies adapt. Support research in whatever way you can. We try to support SEC participation in European projects because we've seen so much good value come back from that, and some really good demonstration projects that wouldn't have otherwise happened. Also, student research that looks at programmes such as your own can be really helpful. I didn't have the time, the capacity or the skills to be undertaking the level of research that others could, and it really helped my programme evolve. One of the most important lessons learned is learn by doing. It came up at our National Dialogue on Climate Action earlier this week, and how we engage citizens on climate change is the same, and how we work with a volunteer model that is already unsustainable. So our ambition, policy and scale for community energy will involve paid community roles, and we need to work out what that will look like sooner rather than later. It's the same for climate change. We also need to look beyond the community asking for organisations to bankroll the projects and then claim the money back retrospectively. Then we have the power of storytelling and demonstration projects. So we were lucky to have Soren Hermansen from SAMSO come over to address our community at a national event back in 2019. And being able to tell a story looking back on 20 years where a lot of our communities were only starting their journey was really powerful. How they started off small, what their ambition was, and how they well exceeded that initial ambition. It was an inspiring talk, but it was also a reality check, which I think is a good way of summing up what this experience is often about. The importance of setting your objectives and metrics. I've spoken that our target to get new SECs into the network, but what we need is a measure to measure what impact they can have, and how we can measure that in a way that isn't excessively burdensome. Also looking at the social impacts. So to sum up, at the end of the day, we're so lucky to have so many people who want to lead a transformation to a zero carbon society in their community, and our job is just to listen to what they need and to make it easier for them. I look forward to hearing how we can continue to make this happen with all of your inputs over the course of the day. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the event and your time in Dublin if you're visiting.
Many thanks indeed, Ruth, and congratulations on the wonderful work you're doing here in Ireland. Perhaps on one of the points which you raised about promoting community initiatives to get involved in research. As I'm sure my colleagues Eugenia and Myriam will come to discuss, we carried out a lot of best practices and guidance documents which we couldn't have done without the proactive participation and engagement of many of the communities in this room joining online and beyond. So I would really like to underline the importance of, we all know how stretched people in communities, energy communities already are with the voluntary nature of their support, having to work, full-time jobs, and of course other family and personal commitments. But your participation in research makes a real impact on learning what happens on the ground and being able to disseminate and transfer the lessons learned. And with that, I'd like to go to the next session, whereby we'll be digging in deeper onto the activities and the outcomes of the two initiatives. We'll be taking stock first of the Energy Community Repository, and for that, I would like to welcome Myriam Castanié, who coordinates the activities of the Energy Community Repository, and she's more broadly a project manager at RECAH EU. Myriam combines experience in project management, strategy development, strategic communications for energy transition and climate action. So Myriam, please do take the floor.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope my voice lasts through the presentation. I'll give it my best try. I'm really happy to see all of you here and all of those who are joining us online. And I have the pleasure to take you through what we've done in the repository over the last 2 years, and also to share some of the learnings that we've taken away from the work for the initiatives and projects that come after us and that will carry this work forward. So our mission in the repository was to set up a repository of data and tools and resources for energy communities targeting different activities. So one of the things that we did was set up an EU-wide map of energy communities. It's an exercise that's only just begun and that I'm sure will continue over the coming years as well. If you're an energy community and you're in the room or listening to us and you're not on the map yet, I really encourage you to still join us on the map. You can find all the information on the website so that we can show the full force of energy communities in Europe today. We've also undertaken an analysis of the legal frameworks that exist in various member states across the EU. You can find those on our website as well. You can see the policy map here where you can click your way around and see what member states have put in place. We've published quite a few already, and we will continue to publish more until the end of the year for those countries where there is legislation available. We will also soon publish an impact assessment based on the data that energy communities have shared with us to show really what communities can bring in many different forms, be it economic, be it on the energy level, be it on the social environmental impacts that they bring to communities. And we've also set up a toolbox where you can find resources from informative reports to very practical tools for energy communities to hopefully help you as energy communities to move forward in your projects and your development. Sorry. Another thing that's already been mentioned a few times that we've done over the last 2 years is the technical assistance working directly with energy communities in many countries across the EU. We've done this in different ways through providing direct technical assistance, for instance, to help energy communities in their development of projects, to devise financing strategies, to deal with legal or administrative questions they might have, and also twinnings, capacity building workshops, and we also organize EU-wide webinars so that we can really reach as many communities as possible. We actually have 2 more coming up until the end of the project, so if you've missed any before, you can watch the recordings, but also the next 2 are going to focus on policy on the 23rd of November, and on the 5th of December, we're going to look at financing and investment opportunities for energy communities. So here you can see a few examples. I wanted to show some of the communities we've worked with through the technical assistance, the peer-to-peer learnings that we've done, and also the case studies that you can find of urban communities on our website. And at this point, I want to thank very much the country experts that we've worked with, which really has been the backbone of the technical assistance that we've done. Anything that we've done in the repository would not have been possible without their dedication and the hard work that they've put in to make sure that the communities really move to the next stage from where we started working with them. Another thing we've done is we published some guidance documents. 2 of them are already online, one on digital tools and another one on one-stop shops, which is really, I think, one of the elements that we'll see spreading out a lot more over the next years for energy communities as the help really starts to happen at the national level. I'll say a few words about that later as well. And there will be another one coming up on energy sharing by the end of this year. In terms of the policy work we've done, we've been working on a report on barriers and drivers for energy communities. And in this process, we've really engaged with a lot of different stakeholders. We've organized 2 workshops this year with various stakeholders to get their inputs for this report and also to give them a chance to provide feedback on what we've produced so that this report really reflects the broad variety of stakeholders that are involved with energy communities. And for me, it's been really encouraging to see, especially in those workshops, we all come at this from different perspectives, and often there is a lot of people protecting their territory, and that's normal. But it's been really encouraging to see how in those workshops people kind of started to really have open conversations and exchange and try and understand each other's positions more. And I feel like this has been very helpful. So again, soon you will see the result of that work. And also it will come together with a roadmap report for EU member states to help them accompany as well. As we know, this is an evolving process, legislation for energy communities, to help them think through the different elements. I think the micro just stopped, there we go. In the process of developing legislation. So I want to look forward a little bit as well, but before I do, I would really like to take a moment to thank the European Commission for having trusted us with this initiative. I hope we've done it justice. And also the repository team, both the consortium, the technical experts, but also everybody who's contributed to the different deliverables, as Pouyan said earlier. There's no way we could have done this without the hard work, the patience, the dedication that you've brought to this. So for the lessons, a few things that we wanted to share on the technical assistance for any future programs that might work on this. I said it before, I'll say it again. Technical experts at the national level are really key to the success of those initiatives. We can't value enough the work that they do, and it's the most effective way to do this in our experience. Ruth has mentioned it before as well. Flexibility is very important. Situations change, needs change. When we started working with communities, they had a specific situation. It evolved over time, so we also saw that we had to adjust the support that we gave them for it to be effective, which can be very challenging, but it's worth keeping that flexibility. Also, building support programs from the bottom up. When we talk to the one-stop shops for the guidance document, this is a message we got from everybody. It's important to go listen to the needs of the people in the community that you're going to work with so that you can build a support program that really tackles their needs. I'm not saying anything revolutionary here, I know, but it's really important, I think, to remind ourselves of these things every now and again when we're in the daily processes of our work. And another thing we've seen, obviously, the national context is still developing, which it can be a challenge when there is not a clear situation yet. But I hope that over the next years we'll see, as member states put more frameworks in place, that this will also evolve and that we'll see more communities coming up. on the mapping of energy communities, I think this was really the start of what will probably be a longer exercise. Energy communities are quite a fast evolving data set when you look at it from a data perspective, so it's really important to think through how you're going to keep that data. I think the mic's gone again. I'm going to keep talking. There it is. To think about processes that are going to allow you to update the data on a regular basis. And also, the map that you will see online is still relatively small, and we're exploring ways to include also data sets from other organizations. But in the end, it also reflects the reality that we're in now. The legislation is still relatively new. Energy communities are starting to come up. We know of a lot of groups that haven't created a legal form yet and so on, so we also expect that the landscape will change quite a lot for organizations that try to do mapping. It's also, anybody who has done this will tell you it's an incredibly resource-intensive exercise, so all the national mapping organizations we've talked to will tell you the same. So it's useful maybe for future initiatives of this sort to consider how you can pool efforts. And the last point on that goes in the same direction. We've also seen very diverse data sets when you look at the different maps. So it's also tricky to bring all the data sets together into one when you know that there's very different elements that are included in each of them. So it might be a consideration to have a conversation moving forward on how maybe certain elements can be aligned so that we can really have comparative data, which in the end will help inform the work of policymakers and of everything that we do. And then just as I wrap up, some more general lessons. Legislation, we know it's an iterative process. We see even member states that have started very early to implement the legislation that now that they've seen on the ground how it works, maybe where the crooks are, to update it. So it's something that is still evolving, and it's very encouraging to see that member states are starting to pick this up. At the same time, we've got this a lot from communities, but also investors and other organizations, other actors. Clarity is key. Communities are sometimes still waiting for certain elements to be defined, so they're holding off, and it's waiting to see how they can develop in order to fit with the legislation. But also for investors, for DSOs, it's really important to see what is going to happen so that they can plan for it and that they can trust in this process and in this new concept and help implement it. One-stop shops, I think, are a very important element as we move forward, because this is a massive undertaking. There are a lot of communities trying to come up across Europe, and I was talking earlier to Pau. He was saying, there are certain organizations and certain communities that are very big and that tend to be like the poster examples. But those are the exception. There are a lot of groups that may not be experts that are starting, that need a lot of support, and the one-stop shops at the national, local, and regional level can really help orient communities there, can show them how to understand, how to interpret the legislation, how to work with it, share information, give them training, and so on and so forth. So this is, I think, a space to watch. And then a general lesson, I think I've mentioned this in the context of the policy dialogue. More understanding and honest conversation is really key as we move forward. We have a really big task ahead on very many fronts, and the only way we're going to do this is if we're able to stop and listen to each other and learn how to build trust among each other. So with this, I thank you very much. I look forward to the discussions that we have today, and the years to come. Thanks.
Many thanks, Myriam. First of all, congratulations on the crystal clear presentation despite your sore throat. But also, of course, congratulations to yourself and the repository team for a hugely broad range of activities and some really impressive outputs, which again, I really invite and encourage all participants to tap into on the website and also to disseminate it within your circles. Secondly, I'd like to introduce Eugenia Bonifazi, who is an Associate Director at RECAH with 10 years of experience in policy, energy technology, and energy efficiency consultancy. She's been managing the high-profile project, Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub, and this project has developed best practice examples for RECs and KECs, delivered technical assistance to selected beneficiaries, and a dedicated website, as well as a conference across Europe. So With that, Eugenia, thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing from you.
So hi, good morning everyone. So I'm, yes, Eugenia. I am responsible and the project manager for the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub. So I'm here to talk a little bit what we have done throughout these 2 years. Don't want to take a lot of time because I'm sure you want to hear more from our speakers and the people that have been involved in these two projects. So the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub, as well as RECAH, as we call it usually, is a project that is an initiative from the European Commission, as well as the repository project. And the idea was to support energy community, particularly in European rural areas, to develop. And we have done through that various ways to help them to tackle some of the main barriers that rural energy communities still have. So this is a little bit of a timeline of our project. We started in January 2022. And one of the first things that we did was the launch event, but before that, we launched the call for experts. So we really went into every single member state and tried to identify the experts that worked with us through this period to support energy communities on the ground, in their local languages, with their local national legislations, so that we can really create a network of experts and communities as well. So then we had the launch of the event and then the launch of the technical assistance service. So the technical assistance was the idea to support energy community really on the ground, one-to-one tailored assistance. This was launched in September. We opened the call and it ran through the end of the year. And then in March, we selected the beneficiaries who receiving technical assistance from us. Throughout all this time, though, we have also provided a more high-level assistance to energy community, developing best practices, 20 best practices. We have identified 20 energy communities that for a reason or another we thought were worth mentioning as a best practice, and you can find all the documents on our website. Some are already published, some will be published soon. We have also developed a number of guidance documents. The most recent one was released just 3 days ago. It's a really interesting one on how municipality can really support the development of energy community. It's packed with example, tips, good practice, so really worth having a read about that. And we will develop some other guidance document, which I'll show you later. We have also tried to support the networking. So we have run this we call it breakfast morning section. So we invited the best practice identified throughout the project to come online and network with all the members of our network to tell their story so that they can share experience. And from March, we have also started to deliver the tailored technical assistance with the support of all our experts. And now we are here, which is almost fully wrapped up. I think we have just a couple of them that are a little bit behind, but we have almost delivered all the technical assistance, and now we are here to just report for all the work that we have done. So I told you about the guidance documents. These that you see now on the slide are already available on our website. You can go and check them out. The first 3 are an introduction, really, first steps on what are energy community, how you can get involved. These first 3 has also been translated into 6 national languages. You can find them online. Then we have 2 other documents that are available on the website, one on national legal and policy framework and one on technology, so helping people and community to understand which are the technologies that better suit their situation. Then we have a number of other documents that will come. The first one is the one that I just mentioned, Empower Municipality. And another 3 are soon to be published. One is about the role of farmer, because obviously we are talking about rural areas, so farmers are a key player in energy communities. How external parties can also get involved in energy communities, and what is a good governance and social acceptance for rural energy communities. And finally, we will create another guidance document which will summarize a little bit our technical assistance experience. On the more tailored technical assistance, we have supported 27 communities across Europe. You can see here the map where the energy community, the beneficiaries have been identified. And we have provided 94 technical assistance services, so community can receive more than one technical assistance service, with a total of almost 500 man days. So expert days have supported energy community with around 500 days. So all the recipients and the providers of technical assistance have been either satisfied or very satisfied by this work. And you can see that the main technical assistance activities that have been requested by energy community involve the identification of the right legal entities, the mapping on the financial options, conducting feasibility studies, establishing good internal and external communication, developing project management skills and stakeholder engagement strategies, and setting up a roadmap and the vision for the future. These are all been assistance that we have provided, and the main takeaways is that longer technical assistance was really welcomed by many of the participants. They really thought it would have been great to have this project for another year. But unfortunately, there will be other things happening. And the other point is that a clear and coherent regulatory framework is needed to make sure that energy community can really develop throughout Europe. Then the other things I want just to mention, we have a network. Our network now counts more than 1,000 members. So if you want to hear more about what's going to happen from us, the delivery of the latest best practice and documents, please join our network. This is a QR code that brings you on the website if you are not already part of our network yet. This is how you can become now a member. And then finally, always on network and knowledge sharing exercise, we have developed a website, of course. We have a newsletter that are going out. And yes, and we have also supported energy communities. So to wrap everything up, I just want to show you 4 videos that we have developed through some of the testimony, some of the energy community that supported technical assistance from us. So let's have a look and hear from these people. So if you can play the videos, please.
The Mountain Renewable Energy Community, known as Morekotroudos, is in the early stages of its establishment. This community-led project aims to contribute to energy efficiency in local communities.
The technical assistance from the European Commission has been fundamental in helping us, which is still, of course, in its infancy. Energy communities have been non-existent in Cyprus, and certainly introducing energy communities has helped us progress this project to the next step, which now, of course, is to talk to all the stakeholders, more importantly the regulators, so that we can adopt the suggested regulation.
My name is Santi Martinez, and I'm the president of the cooperative Energia del Pallars Jussà, which is the region where we are developing it. We are devoted to developing energy communities all around Catalonia. The technical assistance is providing us with security. We don't have financial risk because mistakes on the creation of the cooperative. Next quick step will be the deployment of the PV cells for the whole project. And the next one, we'll start working with equality.
We have created an optimal organizational structure for 2 energy cooperatives regarding key regulation in Poland. Community members actively participate in workshops and meetings. Our cooperation helps local society and leaders to change the approach of local energy. They see the benefits of energy democratization and local cooperation.
We have worked for a community called Energy Cluster Podkowa. It is located in Myślenice district. It is south of Poland. And the community itself was established in 2017, and the founders of the community were 7 local communities. So it showed that local cooperation is a good idea in Poland, not only in European Union.
For Podkowa Energy Cluster, next step will be to build energy cooperatives regarding Polish regulation, taking active part in all calls regarding renewable resources, and use own local energy infrastructure for benefit of inhabitants.
I'm Monica Nicolbibai. Our energy community was founded initially within San Michele Adige on the 8th of August 2023. The energy community brings the citizens to cooperate and makes them aware of the impact that they have on the environment. The technical assistance has helped us figure out the amount of power that would be needed for certain panels to be installed within a certain area. It has also helped us understand in which way we would be able to reach the citizens. Securing funding is one of the next big steps for us to expand and involve them within our energy community.
4 testimony videos of some of the energy community we have supported. So with this, I just want to thank everyone that's been part of this project, all our technical experts, but of course also the member of the consortium. We have really enjoyed working on this project, and it's nice to be here now and share all the experience that we had. So I leave the floor to the next speakers now. Thank you.
Many thanks, Eugenia, and just want to echo what a pleasure it's been to work with the team and also to have you as the coordinator of this project. I think we've done the best we can, and I think overall a good job with lots of interesting resources. Again, I invite you to explore all of these online. And with that, I'd like to go to the second session, well, the first discussion session on stakeholder engagement. So as you all know, energy communities involve a broad variety of actors and stakeholders, first and foremost citizens, but also other entities such as municipalities, SMEs, network operators, energy companies, and NGOs. And as such, the goal of this session will be to explore the different aspects of engaging and empowering these stakeholders within energy communities, and exploring also the experiences and successes encountered by our speakers. And with that, I'd like to introduce our moderator, James Roscoe. He's a consultant at Ricardo and was really a key member of the RECAH project. He led on the development of several of the guidance documents and best practices, which you can find, of course, published online, and in particular he led on the guidance documents on joining and setting up a rural energy community, obtaining and managing finances, navigating technology types, and empowering municipalities. James, please do take the floor, and looking forward to the session.
Thank you, Pouyan, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see such a big room full of energy community enthusiasts. And today we'll have a stakeholder engagement session. My name's James, and I've had the pleasure of working on the RECAH project for the past 2 years. And stakeholder engagement is a critical element to any project or initiative, especially in the realm of rural energy communities. Often, the success and sustainability of these projects depend heavily on the support and active participation of various stakeholders. So now, in the spirit of stakeholder engagement, let's kick the session off with a poll to the audience, both from the in-person and online attendees. So we'll use the Slido app once again. So if you scan this QR code, you'll be able to enter the poll. And in particular, we're eager to hear your opinions on what do you think are the most effective stakeholder engagement strategies. Now in this poll, you'll be able to rank from 1 being the most influential and 5 being the least influential, face-to-face meetings, social media outreach, interactive webinars and virtual meetings, community surveys and polls, and local media and newsletters. Your input will provide valuable context to our discussion later with our key panelists. So just while you are going to be voting on that, I'll give you an overview of what this session is going to entail and what you can expect from the next hour or so. So if we can get the slides back on. So today you will hear from 3 energy community experts in the field who will share successes and key insights into the strategies for stakeholder engagement. Our goal is to provide you with the best advice for engaging with a variety of different stakeholders effectively. And we have a lot to cover today, and I really do invite all of you to be active participants in this discussion. So as we're going and you're hearing from our key speakers, please submit your questions, because following these presentations, we'll have a Q&A session where you, as the audience, can pose your questions directly to the panelists. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our panelists. And our first panelist is Nicholas Verdidosa, a representative from the Epina energy community in Italy. He has been an expert providing technical assistance throughout the RECAH project, to which the community has expressed a very high satisfaction rate with the outputs received. So thank you very much for all your work so far. He also holds a degree in economics and an MBA in entrepreneurship, to which he's evidently put to very good use, as he's elevated his company to an valuation of €5 million in just 3 years. But I'll let you quiz him about that at the break. He also provides a global perspective, having worked across countries, across the US, the EU member states, and the UK. So yeah. And now our second panelist is Michał Swoboda, who has spent the past 10 years in the energy sector. He initially worked on the senior management of energy corporations, but more recently has worked with local communities and small municipalities. He's a strong advocate for the decentralization and democratization of the energy sector. And finally, last but not least, our third panelist is the seasoned energy expert, Carlo Tacconelli. He's a representative of the Anfradocco energy community and has been providing technical assistance under the RECAH project, to which they've also expressed very high satisfaction with the outputs received. He has more than 15 years of experience in the field of decentralized renewables and social inclusion and local development. He also advises UN agencies, the European Union, and other international institutions on ways in which countries can enable their citizens to have universal access to energy. He holds a PhD in energy and environmental engineering from the University of Rome, and we're very excited to have all of our panelists here today. So I'd like to give you a big round of applause to our panelists. So just before we hear from the presentations, I'd like to switch back to the poll so we can get an understanding from the audience what they think are the most critical stakeholder engagement strategies. So we have a clear favourite for face-to-face meetings, and then a mix of the other 4 options. But I'd like to emphasise that stakeholder engagement strategies can be tailored to different contexts, demographics, and communities, and there's often not a one-size-fits-all policy. So in this regard, thank you everyone for participating in the poll. I look forward to your questions, and now let's learn more about which strategies our speakers have put to good use. And our first speaker today will be Nicholas. So I'll invite Nicholas to the stage, or do you want to present now? There. Okay.
Hello everyone, and many thanks James for the great introduction, and thank you everyone to be here. It's great. So I represent today the Epina Green Community, which is a green community project started in 2022, last summer. It's probably one of the most biggest projects in Italy in terms of municipality aggregation. We have in total 45 municipalities, and 11 of them are main partner, and 34 of them are just other partners, municipalities. And the project here is to make sure that we, of course, find innovative ways to gather together and think as little municipalities, because we are in South Italy, and each municipality is between 2,000 and 1,000 inhabitants. So we are not in the city, And sometimes for us, it's hard to come up with innovation because we have a big brain drain. People that tend to study, they go to the cities, and then they go abroad. And unfortunately, we have a poor structure of people generating ideas. So this is an ambitious project for us, and thanks to European and Italian fundings, now we gather together in order to think innovative ways how to be more green, how to have more energy saving, how to be even more sustainable in terms of tourist development, and attracting new people that wants to come in those green area. And one of the main projects that now we are analyzing is gathering way of how to create more sustainable energy, and as well we are installing a solar panel on each municipality buildings. And for us, regarding today's session is stakeholder engagement. Of course, it's not easy, and it was not easy process in order to find which one are the municipality we need to partner with, because the area it's composed by 180 municipalities, and we selected only 11 partners and 33 other partners. So we did a process of selection, so we understand which one was most suitable for us and which one has the characteristics in order to bring innovative project forward. And at the end of this process, we selected those municipalities, and we move forward. And we received in total 2.5 million from the Italian government in order to move ahead those projects. But those municipalities as well need to put 20% of investment. And once the project was funded, we had many problems because some of the municipalities wanted to withdraw because they said, I want to, still that it was a lot of grants. For them, investing 45,000 euro, it was a big amount for little municipalities. And so many of them started to withdraw because part of this project as well was services. And sometimes for us, here I call the slide overcoming perceptual hardness, because the service sometimes is difficult to understand, and the consultation might not give a tangible product at the beginning, but later on. And of course, in this case, RECAH project helped a lot. So RECAH project likely suit at the beginning of our project idea. And it was even beside the financial and technical support and regulation support we received, it was even let's say a big support in terms of we have European Commission fundings, we are in part of this project, so a lot of mayors understood the importance that not only the Italian government but as well the European Commission trusted the project, and so it helped us as well in motivation way. And regarding engagement, I think it's really hard to get the municipality involved and get people together. But if we think ourselves like later and we work hard in order to find and create added value, I think that it's really easy to engage with the municipalities and find the stakeholders that participate to the project. If we think ourselves that we need to be the first one to take the fruit from the apple, from the tree, I think that it's really hard to find other people that want to follow us in the project, and maybe we don't create anything for the others. And thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. That was very inspiring how he overcame such barriers to enable such great success. And our next speaker will be Mikkel, who will be speaking about his energy community.
Thank you, James. Right, so my name is Mikkel as well. Thank you for having me here. I'm coming from Czech Republic, where I over a decade worked for actually the leading energy corporation quite some time recently, I found some conscience in my heart, and I switched sides. Building I returned to the region of my birth, and I'm working for an NGO, trying to develop the region and in terms of energy efficiency and environmental approach. Just briefly sketch where I'm coming from. It's one of the least socio-economically developed regions of Central Europe. Coal mining region still, with high rates or considerably high rates of unemployment. Once, just to give you an example, once a person asked me, like, what would be the regional product of yours, and why, without thinking too much, answered crystal meth. Is really not the best situation to start with, right? But still, out of 42 municipalities, 42 mayors, I returned 2 years ago. I managed 20 of them already signed the Covenant of Mayors and proceed towards the goals of climatic neutrality in 2050. In this speech, I would love to tell you more or less the way I'm using, the approach I'm using. I'm not saying it'll work everywhere. Like, the situation is very specific in my region, and it doesn't have to be the case for everyone, but I think it's interesting to say. So I often start with this picture, right? Most of the speeches on renewables start, or decentralized energy start with photovoltaics, wind stuff. I have this old engine. This is a heater in our municipality of Vansdorf, and I say the principle of decentralized energy we know for ages. This is 69 machine producing electricity and heat from coal, from our local substance, coal, locally producing 2 energies, and electricity, heat, locally consuming in the neighborhood. We know this principle for ages, for more than 50 years, for 60 years. We know this principle. There's nothing new. This is something that people want to hear, because people in those regions are afraid of anything that's new. Then please, who of you does not love Robin Hood? Nobody, because if anyone had raised hand, means it is a very rich person. Only rich people don't hate Robin Hood. And I say, what I say is, the decentralized or the community energy is a new way of sharehood, where the accesses are being taken from the rich, given to the poor. But something has to be done. Me, having over a decade experience in high management of energy corporations, I know very well what's happening. All the coal sources that exist today, all the installed capacity will be replaced by renewables. That's no question about that. I said that the die is cast. There's no question about that. The only question that remains is who will own those sources. This is the only question that's on the table. And when I speak in locally, this is basically the thing that I say. Like, you can do nothing, and it will be perfectly fine. The renewables will be here, but it will be in ownership of the corporation. So you will be only obliged to pay as much as you do now. But it can change. It can change. It can be in your own hands. Some of them are afraid. They say, this is too difficult topic, right? Renewables, energy. If nobody cared about energy 2 years ago. You just switched on and the energy came in. So I say, okay, do not start with renewables. Start with energy management, like put on the table the data, like monitor your energy bills. Start with energy savings, like most of our 9 of 10 municipal buildings in my region are energy super inefficient. 9 of 10 is a lot. And then after you monitor your energy, after you reduce the cost, then start with renewables. It's a long way, and you will learn along the way. Next, search for someone who's there with you. Search for someone who's with you is actually the strategy that has worked. I found locally people who can work on energy sector not being energies. Like, our legislation does not allow yet the appearance of energy communities, but we are on the way. Like, the next year the law will be applied. But still, we can do still a lot. And we can do a lot of things ourselves. Like we have developed our own software for energy management, saving tens of thousands of euros yearly. Like it's free. It's an open source solution, free for anyone. We have developed with the help of our high school students in our town. The high school students they build the smart meters for few bucks, not for hundreds, for few bucks. The mayors take active part. The mayors themselves take part in energy efficiency projects. The farmers are getting involved. So, the students and us ourselves, like all the stuff, we basically do not need too many suppliers. We can draw our PVA projects ourselves. Like the students have learned, some of the mayors have learned. We bought our own thermovision cameras. We can access them. And this is it. This is basically because so far we have learned that we have spoken about emissions without the decarbonization. But I'll be brutally honest with you. If in my region, if I came there and talk to the people and say let's decarbonize, let's lower the amount of emission, they would kick my butt. Like nobody. I'm sorry, but this is the truth and this is the reality I have to work with. Nobody cares about emissions. In a region where you are afraid whether you will have money for the Christmas presents for your children, you don't care whether you are your main goal is not to save the planet. So this line is closed for me. So I had to search for another line. So energy efficiency, okay, might be interesting, like less kilowatts used, but that's too technical. Money is of course money is an argument, but what I found out that the best argument is the do-it-yourself approach. Like the poor region is already used to do many things. We are not using too many suppliers, like the walls we are building ourselves, the lights, whatever we do, we try to do it by our own, using our own hands. The energy is another realm that the things can be done like this. I start with mayors. Our country is divided into 6,500 municipalities. That means 1,500, each 1,500 inhabitants have a mayor. So basically, if you walk a sidewalk, you will meet a mayor anywhere. Which is good because there's very many local authorities. And the local mayors are the most trusted political force in the country. Like nobody trusts the government, few people trust the president, almost everybody trusts the mayor. So if I convince the mayors, it's really a good start. Then I go to the citizens. If I don't have the mayor on my side, I don't proceed. I don't proceed because I've got enough work to do with the ones that want to listen. Then the very next steps after I convince mayors, citizens, then I try to interconnect them with developers and bring some money to the region. Well, therefore, in our region, I said 42 municipalities, 20 of them being actively involved, doing the things by ourselves. We built our own, like with our hands, with those hands, we built the PV plants. We make sure that our houses get more energy efficient. We have our own software. We write our own local energy strategies, trying to do what we can. So, yeah. Again, you might not like Russell Crowe, but you said that you like Robin Hood. I really believe every region is specific, but what has worked so far for me is that the do-it-yourself approach can be very much efficient in the new sector of energy. That's quite opening to us. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mikkel. I think that really epitomises the bottom-up approach and the different types of engagement strategies that you need for various different stakeholders. And the very pressing question about, who's going to own this renewable energy transition and how are the benefits going to be shared. So our final presentation will come from Carlo. So I welcome Carlo to the stage.
Thank you. Thanks to the RECAH and ECR team for inviting me today. Thanks, James, for calling me a seasoned expert. We usually use that term in Italy for cheese or wine, but it's fine. I'm very happy to be here and share our project with all of you guys, because I think that the community of, well, let's move on from Russell Crowe, of Antrodoco is really representative of the Italian rural community landscape. A bit of background, in the whole country we have around 8,000 municipalities, of which 5,000 have less than 5,000 inhabitants. So most of the population lives in small areas. And if you figure out a little bit the Italian geography, we have a lot of mountainous landscape that acts like a backbone of the country. So a lot of people live in very difficult to access area where there is no particular vocation for industrial or commercial activities. So opportunities for youth are really few, and all of them, they tend to move to the coastal area where we have more touristic vocation and more opportunities. On top of this, I have to say that climate change is affecting this. Because the winter tourism we had in central and southern Italy is becoming less and less because we don't have snow, basically. So for people in such a small municipality, there are really few reasons to be there. And I think that in this framework, energy communities are a powerful tool to try to attract people and stay in the country, in the countryside, and create some sort of value. So this small town called Antrodoco has 2,000 inhabitants and is surrounded by forest in the central part of Italy. And the good thing is that they have a youth-led association that promoted the energy community since 2021. So the project had started with a bottom-up approach. There was this community that was able to put together some members to found the association. So the first step was to discuss between this association and the members of the association and start with registration of the community. So this was an important step, because if you're able to operate with an association, you're able to work and attract funds and to really start with projects that are not only in your mind, but they're really able to move further. The first community was set up in 2022, but we found out that there are a lot of challenges. First one is at national level, we have a transition framework which only allows small communities, so we can only set up 200 kilowatt power plants and connect people which are under the same low voltage substation. That means that we can create only small communities with maybe hundreds of members, so that is not really impactful if we want to reach the entire communities. But hopefully the new regulation is coming this year and will allow to reach up to 25,000 members. So in the first step, we also noticed that within the municipalities, there are no technical capacities, there are no skills to move forward with such a difficult project. You have to deal not only with engineering, which is a small part of the development of such project, but community engagement, legal structure, economic, financial. So, as I said, the youth, the young talented people, they tend to move away from these small countries. So you have only maybe middle-aged people and retired people in small communities, and it's very hard to get them committed to such project or to get them involved on long-term or mid-term project. So this is why we applied to the RECAH technical assistance that helped us to develop all the feasibility studies, including the business plan, and to reach out to all the population. Another challenges that we faced, that the association itself that promoted the community wasn't able really to gain the trust of all the population. So we need, as Michael said as well, to involve the mayors. so to gain his trust, so that he can raise his voice and talk to the entire population. So the first challenge was this, to involve the public municipality, and this worked out. After having the mayor on our side, we were able to involve the entire community. So now the municipality and the mayor itself is the front runner of this project. We've been able to set up as well like an info point, so have technical people in the municipality each week speaking to the citizen and explaining all the activities. Coming to the question we had before on the stakeholder engagement strategy, I think that face-to-face meetings are the most effective way in these communities to gain trust, to build awareness, and to really explain every single details. We tried to, thanks to our technical assistants, to create some innovation and try to create a project that goes beyond the solar PV. You know, in Italy we have plenty of sun, so solar PV is the first source that we are quite confident we can use almost everywhere. But this doesn't help to impact on the consumption profile of a community. After the pandemic and the energy crisis, the energy prices went to the sky, and the mayors in different municipalities had the problem of paying the energy bills for public street lighting. So even if you provide solar system, they only produce during sun hours, and according to our regulation, you can only consume while you are producing energy. So with solar PV, you can only reduce your daily consumption. We try to look for other resources that can help bringing this forward. And we found out that we can generate power with a combined heat and power machine, which is a cogenerator, biomass cogenerator, by using the biomass coming from the local forest management. And beyond the technical aspects, we found out that this is a very important point to help increase the commitment and the ownership of the entire population. So we are basically saying that you can reduce your energy bills, you can save money if you take care of the forest. So that wood that you are just selling it outside, or sometimes you are not managing properly the forest, if you use it sustainably, it can help you increase your self-reliance and energy security. So by telling them you need to reduce your energy bills, you commit people to take care of the forest, and therefore create also a local value chain, job creation, and all the benefits are related with this one. I think this is an innovative point that we can try to look at also in different countries, because, as I said, most of our communities are nearly or surrounded by national parks or nearly some forests, so the resource is there as well. Finally, the lesson learned, as I said, is that we need to, although the bottom-up approach is the most effective one, we need to involve the municipality for this kind of project. So when we started private communities, we noticed that there's a limit. They can't increase if you don't involve the entire community. So the mayor is the one that builds trust. Second point is that we don't need to wait for the entire population to march and advocate for the energy communities, but we need to start with the first one. So let's just start putting the first solar panels so that people can see its concrete step toward the creation of a community. Although we are in a transition moment, although we don't have fund to create the community, but try to, step by step, create local values. So this is the approach we are having, and we started in Antrodoco with the first 2 PV plants. And what we want to do in the next few weeks, we are trying to provide a smart metering system which is connected to an app that all the members of the community will have. So with full transparency, everybody can see in real time what the energy is producing, consuming in terms of kilowatt hours and as well of euros generated. This will act as a tool that people will use to change their culture in terms of energy democracy. So people can say every day, they say, okay, tomorrow we expect to have a sunny day. Let me put the laundry machine during sun hours. So this will change as well the approach we have to electricity. We no longer think that electricity is coming from the breaker, but it's coming from our sun, or from our forest, and we are able to change and create an impact on ourselves. The second activities that we are trying to do is to, since we have now communities and there are private individuals that wants to build their own solar system, we are trying to help them create a collective group so they can act as a purchase group and get, of course, better discount. So this is a secondary benefit, but it is really concrete for people that are looking just at the economical benefits. Last, we are trying to build on the success story that we have to expand this to nearby communities and other municipalities. I think that all of us in all the member countries, we have been facing a lot of challenges because this is new. And when something is new, it takes time. It's a long process to have people understanding the real benefits of this. So I know that sometimes we are failing in our projects because we don't secure funding, or we lose people on the way because they lose their commitment. But we are not doing something that will not bring impact in the long time, because we are changing mindset and we're trying to make people understand that they need to take care of the energy because it's not coming from the sky. Well, it's coming from the sky if talking of solar energy, but it's something that we can really put our hands on. So hopefully I'm available as well to share and to listen to other member countries' experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carlo. And I think he emphasized a key rising theme from all of our speakers today, that the importance of municipalities as a catalyst to the emergence and sustainability of energy communities. So now I'd like to open the Q&A session and invite our attendees to access the Slido app and pose some questions for our panel today. So our first question would be, how can we improve stakeholder trust and involvement? And Nicholas, I'd like to ask you this question, seeing as you alluded in your presentation. Yeah.
Sure. Great question. So I think it's by giving trust back. So it's probably trusting people in order to get trust. And sometimes it might be difficult because it's like, okay, who trusts first? But I think as well, if we study and we talk, we try to have honest conversations, and with knowledge as well, it's possible to improve relationship with stakeholders and then create a project with added value.
Mm-hmm. Great. And would any other speakers like to add to that?
Well, I think that we need to share the real benefit. We do understand what the community is looking for, what are their needs, before just telling them from the top that we need to build an energy community. Maybe energy communities are not working for all the cases. So sometimes we really need to understand the needs and see how the communities can help them solve their needs.
Great, thank you very much. And our next question, what about the importance of gender justice and equality? Yes, a very important issue which was missed in the engagement poll is the importance of role models. Does anyone have any insights in terms of how role models can be very effective ways of engaging and incentivizing different audiences to participate in energy communities? Mikel, maybe this is a good one for you, considering the amount of stakeholders you work with.
Sure, it's a really good question, to be honest. You know, I think it's always the same. Like, you start with the one who's interested, and you start with the one who has some authority in the area. In my case, most of the time is the mayor, And I do not see any gender difference whether the mayor is a male or female, like you are interested or not. If you are not, I don't proceed because, and I'm telling this, I'm telling this, you will come anyway, sooner or later. So I've got enough work to do in the meantime. And yeah, the mayor or some local authority is the role model. So, the main barrier then, I would say, with the interested ones is the awareness. So what you help them to do is to raise their awareness on the energy sector and tell them it's not as difficult as it might seem in the first sight.
Great, thank you very much. And would anyone like to answer the question, what are the best practices for involving stakeholders in the early stages of strategic planning?
I can answer.
Yep.
I think coming back as well on the answer before, it's providing clear communication and thinking ahead as well. So it's what can we build together in the next few months, and then having ideas of the next years, 2 years. And I think as well, like it's start doing the things. So sometimes should not even to be about a lot of planning, but let's do this first step and let's have result and keep moving forward.
I think that related quite closely to what Carlo was mentioning before about actually showing the community the hands-on examples of solar panels being put on roofs. And our next question, rural municipalities can have a scattered population and public street lighting can become an issue in terms of consumption and cost. How can RECs address this? And I'd like to ask this one to Carlo.
Yeah, actually, is what we faced in our community. With the tools we have now available, I think we need to balance the renewable sources we're going to use. Let's not look only at solar, but let's try to investigate on other ones that have maybe a different generation profile. If I would have to go into a technical detail, maybe I would say that a storage system can play a relevant role in this. And actually, I think that storage systems are not considered renewable energy. Of course, they are just technology, most of them coming from maybe fossil fuel value chain. But I think that it would be very helpful to maybe have this point of discussion at the regulatory level as well, regarding the role of the storage system to help local communities to store energy and use it when they need.
Thank you. And how do we handle conflicting interests among various stakeholders? I think this is a great question, especially in decision-making processes. How do we allow for a suitable outcome for all benefits, all parties? Nicholas?
I think sometimes it's normal that there is conflict among different stakeholders, because some of them, they share the same interests, and sometimes I guess conflict helps as well to build. If it's in a good way, sometimes unfortunately destroy, and we have wars, we have many happenings. But yeah, I think depends, of course, from the several situations. And I believe that by providing added value through hard work and information, I think it's possible to overcome those problems and try to create conditions that are winning to everyone and not interests. But of course, sometimes when there is a lot of power, it's the information goes to the one that has more power. So it's really tough.
Yeah, 2 very good points there about value creation and awareness. In the interest of time, and to leave us with some actionable insights, could each of our panelists, in 30 seconds or less, share with us their single most important principle that you believe is the cornerstone for an effective stakeholder engagement strategy in energy communities? I'd like to start with Nicholas.
Yeah, I think maybe I answered already to the question is having a solid relationship that are that aims to create added value and trust and be clear with people, having good conversations and make sure that we provide added value in the project. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I've already answered that. For me, it is the fact that the world is changing. Whether you like it or not, the world is changing. Like we are switching from fossils to renewables, and technologically, it brings more power to our hands. Like big fossil power plants, you could not build locally and in small scale. Now you can build small scale, and it's up to us. It's up to you whether you want to participate or whether you want to leave it to someone else. Not to leave just the production, but also the profit. This is for me what works the best.
I want to answer as well, combining with the following questions. Which are the role of the private enterprises in the project? Well, I think in the stakeholders, we need to consider the commercial activities, because they are the so-called productive use of energy. In domestic use, if we can afford the energy bills, we switch off the light bulbs, we stay with a candle. It's a romantic night, but we don't have consequences on that. Well, enterprises, they need power to run their activities. They need to make this effective. So I think in our stakeholders, we need to involve them as front runner as well, because they will be very an active part involved in our group, in our audience, and they can as well lead other companies or lead the people that are working with that company, within that company, which lives in the municipality. So I think that we spoke about private municipalities, but we need to involve as well the companies, commercial industrial users.
Thank you very much. So as we draw this session to a close, I'd like to extend a thank you to our audience today who have participated very well, provided us with great questions for our panelists to answer, and also to the panelists themselves, providing really great insights to inspire and add significant depth to our understanding of stakeholder engagement in the context of rural energy communities. So we'll give a big round of applause to our panelists. And now I'll pass you back into the safe hands of Pouyan.
Wow, what a pleasure to have this variety of really impressive and innovative panelists. Thank you for joining us here today. And of course, thanks to James for his excellent moderation. I think we've all earned a good cup of tea or a coffee and a snack. For those of us who are here in Dublin, also we can step outside into the glorious blue skies. It's been sunny here for 3 days. I mean, I wasn't prepared for this. I was expecting rain and wind, but yeah, may perhaps pop out to get some fresh air as well. So we'll be back here in 25 minutes. So at 25 to 12, I asked you already at 12:30 to think about moving back in so we can get to a swift start for our next session. So yeah, enjoy your snack and refreshments, and we'll be back here in a moment. The refreshments are just in the immediate room as you exit here. So thanks a lot, everyone. Hello, hello. Can I kindly invite you all to start taking your seats, please? We'll be starting the next session in a couple of moments. If you can kindly take your seats, please, we'll be starting in just under a minute for the next session. Thank you very much. I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities to converse and chat throughout the day and the evening. Great, so I think we're ready to start our second thematic session of the day on business models and legal forms. So legal frameworks have an important impact on how existing energy communities can upscale and how new energy communities can flourish. And other questions are concerning how much energy communities can actually produce, the types of technologies they can utilize, the benefit distribution and the member consumption, what their size can be, and etc. The business models and legal forms for energy communities are constituted of, across Europe, are highly varied and very much dependent on national frameworks, and this is something which we would like to explore in more depth in the next session. Our next session will be moderated by Sara Giovannini. Sara has worked for the city network Energy Cities since 2018, where she coordinates a communication team and leads the advocacy activities for local ownership and renewables. She also coordinates the Energy Cities Hub on energy communities, and she's co-authored a number of different publications on the topic. Before, she worked on communication for the European Commission, first in DG Environment, and then later in the JRC, the Joint Research Centre. And with that, I would like to hand over the floor to Sara to come and moderate our session. Oh, there she is. I was looking for you. Thank you. Thanks, Sara.
Thank you for the introduction. And good morning, everyone. I have the pleasure of moderating this session with our three speakers that I invite to join me on the stage. Stavros Kazamias is community organizer for Troodos Energy Community in Cyprus. Please, Stavros, join us here. A warm welcome for Stavros. Paul Pagnella, Energy Communities expert at Ozona's Regional Energy Agency and founding member of Ozona Energia in Spain. Paul, please. And Josep Verme from Estonia, I'm sorry in advance for the pronunciation, TU Energia Uistu. Thank you very much. So, now we are going to hear three different models of energy communities. from Stavros, Pau, and Josep. And after that, we are going to learn more about their communities as well. And you guys have the chance to ask questions. So maybe Stavros, you want to start, please?
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Stavros, and I am the rapporteur and project manager of the Mountain Troodos Renewable Energy Community initiative, namely Moreko Troodos, supported by the Mountain Institute. Mountain Institute is a non-profit research, education, and development organization founded by an interdisciplinary and international network of scientists focusing on mountain studies. I would like to thank the Energy Community Repository and the Rural Energy Community Advisory Hub for inviting me to the conference. Let me begin by introducing my home. Troodos is a distinctive area of Cyprus, rich in physical and cultural resources, covering a significant part of the island with 110 villages and a population of 27,000. It faces various physical and man-made hazards that have economic and social implications, threatening the abandonment of many villages. In response, the Cypriot government launched the National Strategy for the Development of Mountain Communities in 2019, recognizing the multifunctionality and value of mountain resources. As an advisor to the President of the Republic of Cyprus, I was honored to serve as the coordinator of this strategy. This action-oriented document is based on sustainable territorial development principle, aiming to combat the marginalization of mountain areas. The Cyprus Mountain Strategy envisions Troodos shift towards a sustainable low-carbon energy system. Moreko Troodos is the first stepping stone in that direction. It is a community-driven initiative that unites residents, business, farmers, NGOs, and local councils. This collaborative aligns with climate goals, strengthens resilience, fosters social cohesion, stimulates economic growth, and encourages population retention and attraction. Moreover, Moreko is expected to support local business and vulnerable consumers. Last, the initiative promotes active citizenships and advances the decentralization and democratization of the energy sector. Within the frame of the Cyprus Mountain Strategy, for the first time, a mapping of energy consumption per sector, energy sources, and aggregated energy cost occurred at Troodos. The development of Moreko business model is based on this data. The motivation for energy transition in the mountains of Cyprus by the local community is connected to high electricity prices and the problematic unstable electricity supply to household and business. Troodos' successful energy transition and the establishment of Moreko are contingent on the following: Cyprus and Troodos' energy landscape, consideration for RES installation, legislative framework. Cyprus faces unique energy hurdles with an energy isolated system heavily dependent on oil products, accounting for 84% of the energy mix in 2021. This, along with an uncompetitive electricity market, results in the 7th highest electricity prices in the EU. Energy poverty affects more than 20.9% of the population. Complicating the transition to sustainable energy, natural gas infrastructure is underdeveloped, and lack of storage leads to renewable energy waste. Mountain Cyprus is entirely dependent on the centralized fossil fuel power plants of the Cyprus Electricity Authority, which serves the whole country. Renewable electricity generation in the Troodos region is mainly from small photovoltaic systems and one wind farm covering 11.7% of the region's electricity consumption. Troodos faces restrictions on seating and installation of RES due to their area's topography and the formation of villages, especially in steep valleys. Also restrictions due to the environmental impact and constraints in areas of high ecological value. Last, there is a restriction in the implementation of energy efficiency measures and installation of RES in buildings because a large number are declared as protected or as ancient monuments.
Also, entire villages or parts have been declared protected and controlled areas due to their architectural or historical significance or proximity to UNESCO sites. To address complexities and constraints, we have worked with the Department of Planning and Regional Development, University of Thessaly, to develop a multi-criteria 3D GIS model. This model identifies suitable zones for the potential siting of photovoltaic parks using various exclusion and suitability criteria, which are enough to satisfy the area's energy needs. The installation of RES is seen as an intervention and a challenge for Troodos, requiring harmonizing the energy transition with their territorial development process. The Mountain Met Institute strongly supports Moreko Troodos as a transformative change in Cyprus' energy landscape, highlighting the importance of bottom-up initiative and community engagement. Furthermore, this place-based initiative represents an innovative project tailored to the Cypriot mountains. Given the complete absence of established energy community in Cyprus and the pioneering nature of this initiative, technical support from the European Commission Rural Energy Communities Advisory Hub was essential to facilitate the creation of critical components. A technical guide for the Moreko pilot installation covering generation, storage, and grid connection. Second, the Moreko Troodos statutes. And third, the policy recommendations on the regulatory framework. There is no one-size-fits-all approach for REC's framework transportation in the national circumstances on each EU member state. The law of 2022 on the promotion and encouragement of the use of renewable energy sources of Cyprus includes the definition of RECs according to RED 2. However, the necessary regulations to promote and facilitate their development are expected to be published in 2024. The law does not specify REC's legal form. Still, the technical assistant from RECAH identified two possible legal structures to be adopted in the Cypriot context for Moreko Troodos and every other: energy cooperatives and limited liability companies by guarantee without share capital. In conclusion, the Moreko business model aligns with the national strategy for the development of mountain communities, driving towards a sustainable low-carbon energy system. As part of its mission, Moreko Troodos plans to generate, store, and distribute clean energy, expanding into energy efficiency and electric mobility services in the future. It aims to balance its share in a competitive energy market while offering a service grounded in social solidarity and energy democracy. The business model integrates territorial approach and living labs methodology to achieve these goals. According to RECAH's technical assistant, the proposed Moreko pilot installation estimate cost is 26 million. These infrastructures is designed to cater to around 3,000 energy consumers who might otherwise struggle to participate in the energy transition, including a 20-megawatt pilot PV park and 40 megawatt-hours storage infrastructure. Moreko initiative is expected to contribute to the long-term resilience of Cyprus' fragile mountain ecosystems to enhance their capacity to provide benefits necessary for sustainable development and, though, the overall well-being of the whole country, contributing to the achievement of the Green Deal and the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Stavros, for your presentation. I think your context is very peculiar, so we definitely want to learn more about that. But now I invite Pau to the stage, please.
Okay, so, well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting us to present our initiative here. Today, I would like to present our initiative called Zona Energia Cooperativa. The acronym is OECOP, so many times I talk directly about OECOP. Okay, so what is OECOP? OECOP is a one-stop shop solution for energy communities. We are a second-level cooperative, non-for-profit, founded June last year, and currently we already have 26 energy communities under our umbrella. Our main objective is to provide services to those energy communities. We are based in northeast Spain, in Catalonia, more precisely in the Osona region, which is 1 hour north from Barcelona. And first of all, I would like to provide you with a bit of context on why OECOP was founded. And there are 3 elements that make the difference. First one is an external context that 2 years ago we got the energy crisis started with skyrocketing prices, the energy always every day in the news, and at the same time we got in the region a couple of big solar parks willing to be implemented in the area. So we got the citizenship really engaged in the topic. This is from one side. From the second side, all the municipalities of the region approved energy transition plan. It's called NEO plan, NEO plan, and it has many actions, but one of the actions was to create energy communities in order to empower citizens. So we have the citizens part, the political part together as an external context. The second element was, or is that we have a couple of groundbreaking energy communities in Osona. So we have really nearby us 2 energy community best practices to follow, right? And the third element is that the energy agency of the region, which is a department of the regional council, started 2 years ago an energy community support program in order to support these groups in order to create their communities. And with this context, we ended up to this picture. This is the map of Osona region, 50 municipalities, 150,000 inhabitants, and nowadays we have 26 energy communities already created at municipality level, and actually 94% of the population of the region can already engage in an energy community in their municipality. So we have this model of really a decentralized model with energy communities at a very local level. So we have property and decision rights very local in each municipality. And with this context, we decided, actually the energy communities itself decided that they needed this umbrella entity, and that's why we created this second-level cooperative. We created Osona Energia in order to provide themselves, the cooperatives and themselves, for the services they were needing, right? And actually, this idea is appealing for other communities all around Catalonia because they are already joining the OECOP. And which type of services do we offer to those energy communities? We have these 3 types of services. The first one is more administrative services, more related to the general management of the cooperative. Now we are implementing, for instance, an ERP, CRM, for tax and accounting management of the cooperatives. We help them on services like insurance, data protection, and so on. We have a second group of services, which is technical services, and we help them on grant preparation, on identifying and implementing and management their projects. We have contractual models. We have developed business models for different types of projects, collective self-consumption, e-mobility, and so on. We also have framework agreements for project financing. And the third group of services is more related to the group itself. It's about training, it's about coordination, sharing best practices, and this stuff. And which type of projects are we are running nowadays? So if we sum up all the projects we already implement, or we recently got the subsidy to implement next year, we sum up close to 10 megawatts of PV projects, most of them collective self-consumption installation, and a couple of them linked to storage facilities. We also have a couple of shared e-mobility projects. We already implemented one and we are going to the second one. And many communities are implementing EV charging stations in their cities. for municipalities. And also we have one really pioneering project. It's a district heating for 60 households. Actually, it's for heating, but also for cooling purposes, because it's based on a geothermal heat pump, which is linked again to the PV. So we have a variety of projects, and how to finance them. As I said, one of the services we offer to the communities is grant preparation. And in Spain, the main grant for energy communities is called Te Implementa, coming from the Spanish government. And this year, OECOP helped 16 energy communities to prepare their proposals, and 2 weeks ago, we got the news that 14 have been approved. So it's, we succeed quite well in that, and this means 3.3 million euros of subsidy for a group of projects on a value of 5.7 million euros. And we are not doing this alone. We have strong collaborators. The first one, it was already highlighted in the previous session, it's the local public authorities. We have a really good collaboration with the regional government, but also with the local governments, with the mayors in each municipality. And this is making the difference. Those communities who have good relationship with the municipality, they go faster. This is crystal clear. Also, we are looking to digital tools, and we are collaborating with some Comunitats, who is developing an open source digital platform for energy communities, and we are implementing that one. And of course, at EU level, we are already members of RESCOP-EU, because we strongly think that we need to collaborate with other energy communities around Europe in order to move forward, and to move forward faster, because we need to go faster. And maybe this can be in the framework or Horizon Europe calls or this. And that's all from our side. You can find more information of OECOP in the Energy Community Repository website on the map. You can also find more information on the guide on one-stop-shop solutions for energy communities of the Commission, and of course in our website. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone. I'm just going to pull up my notes just in case. All right, thanks for having me. You were quite right with the lettering. It's like U, so we have a lot of them in our name, TU Energiaühistu, which is translated directly to energy co-op. And we identify ourselves as an umbrella organization. We don't have that many communities in Estonia yet, because the citizens are getting used to the idea, but a little bit about ourselves. Estonia is there, we are here. I hope you know that. Energiaühistu was established in 2021 with 36 founding members, and it has grown to 94, so roughly 100. The idea was to set an example and let local communities pop up like mushrooms after the rain. Our strength is having a really good demographic cross-section. So we have politicians, we have business people, we have artists, and local community members from rural regions. Our legal form is basically like a non-profit organization, but in Estonia we have a similar thing without the non in the front, so a profit organization, which is not delimited. And it's quite similar to, I think most of the EU states have building co-ops. Let's say you have 50 apartments in a building, and then you have a co-op who organizes the garbage disposal and so on. So it's quite similar. So let's say an apartment building wants to become a member of or create an energy community, then they don't have to create another legal form. They can do it under the same one. The technicalities are the same as a limited company, but I understood from Stavros that in Cyprus it's a little bit more complicated and so on. The main restriction that we have currently for the development of local energy communities is limited grid capacity. So in 7 to 10 years they are going to get more capacity available, but yeah, currently this is the main restriction. Let's go forward. So, I mean, you can ask questions if you need something more specific. I'm happy to talk about that. Community communication, we had some slides in the beginning as well, and a question regarding that. And for us in Estonia, because the communities that we want to implement this model are really rural and the average age is above 65, then webinars, for example, is not a good option. So it's just going there, doing workshops, talking to them, and so on. Then on that note, festivals and gatherings. We have this opinion festival once a year in the summer where everybody can come and join, and we have politicians and then business people talking there in the panel, and everybody can ask questions. So this is a really good format. Then for our members, we do trainings, brainstorming sessions, just for them to feel that they are part of something, that they can contribute, and maybe something good, a great project will come out of it. Also workshops. This is, as I mentioned, really good for the rural communities. We take a case study and we tackle it together, and then this brings the communities closer to feeling that they are a part of a project, and they start developing these ideas in their heads. And this is an example of one small harbor project where we evaluated all the ecological restrictions, and we have a really strong ornithology union in Estonia, protecting our eagles and seabirds. So this is a huge restriction, and how to overcome these. And with the PV parks in Cyprus, I think there's not a big issue with the sun, but in Estonia, about two months per year, we have about 2 hours of sunlight average by day. So, okay. Now, lessons we have learned. Just keep it simple. Let's talk about feasible technologies. We are not, maybe in some parts, but generally we're not talking Teslas and hydrogen, because this is future and this is a little bit too expensive. Just start doing, buy the first solar panels, get the community together, you'll find a way. That's the best part. And that's also where you can influence the lawmakers, because when they have an example, it's easier for them to make changes. This is our first project. House, an office building owned by one of our members. There were 29 investors for the 13 kilowatt solar park. The bids were 100 to 1,500. The average bid was 480 something euros. And now every month, all the participants sell the energy back to the office building. Yeah, and then I'm going to talk about, it's basically last slide, an initiative. As I mentioned, we have limited grid capacity. The grid capacity that we have is, I wouldn't say governed, but it's easier accessible to the developers. For example, developers of wind farms. So our role here is to connect politics, developers, and local communities, and make the local communities more welcoming these larger projects, because the projects in the end will bring green technology to their state. Usually the locations are the poorest regions in our country, and we will give incentive to the local community members to be a part of the project. The projects will happen anyways, but even if they get altogether a 0.003% fraction of the whole project, then they feel that this is part theirs. And this is a really nice thing that really nice company, a startup that we're working together with, which is founded and started by Davi Kotka, who is one of our IT godfathers, previous IT minister, and he is also that involved that we just had a gathering in the poorest region in Estonia, and he was there explaining the whole thing to them. And I encourage you to learn more about that. I won't waste time talking about that, but this is a good way how to get the community connected exactly to the developers' projects. And Koos, EO, the name of the startup means, Koos means together in Estonian. They do other things besides energy as well. And this is just a vision that we presented to our capital, Tallinn. Solar roof, community garden. It's a nice project. Maybe we'll do it someday, but just to open the eyes of the lawmakers that this can be done with community plus city funding. Yep, that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, I don't know if this microphone works. Yes? Okay, perfect. So I guess now we can have a bit of discussion among us while I invite everyone to ask questions via the Slido, like you did before. So I think we've heard 3 different models of communities, also like very different stages. Like we are going from Stavros, which is basically pioneering in Cyprus, to communities that are more experienced and are actually supporting other communities, which is the cause of POW. And then you, Joseph, you just mentioned now the need to open the eyes of the lawmakers. And so maybe like the question that comes to mind is, it's like how your context, like your legal framework in the different countries that you come from, in Cyprus, in Spain, in Estonia, has influenced the model of energy community that you set up. Maybe, Josep, you want to start? It's like, why did you choose this specific model? And why does that work well for you?
That's a really, yeah, it works. That's a really good question. I think this was the only and the closest model that already existed. And there was some implementations made in the law, basically one sentence that this format can be used for energy communities as well. So I would say from the lawmaker's side, this was maybe the easiest part. The harder part is actually everyday operations, engaging communities. But on another note, the Estonian lawmakers are rather open to implementing different incentives for green technology, because we had Skype, but we are losing the IT thing, and now we want to be good at something else, I think.
Thank you. And you, Stavros, so why did you set up the community, and you did it the way, choosing the model that you have currently? It's probably going to work. There is no light.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works. Okay. As I told before, the model begins to build before we have the law in Cyprus.
our experience the last 20 years, especially in the mountain areas, because there is not a specific policy for mountain areas, but we knew the problems of those areas. Mm-hmm. So our model started being built when we finished the national strategy for the mountain territory of Troodos, and we realized that there are potential in the area, but the energy transition actually left behind this area because it was not possible for this area to succeed the energy transition because all the constraints. So we start building our business model, let's say, based on the national strategy, having in mind the territorial assets of the area. And when the law came in Cyprus in 2022, even now we are talking, we don't have even the regulatory framework, but we are prepared because we exchange knowledge with other countries and with other communities. And I think it's very important not to wait the law, but to move forward in order to pressure the people that they made the laws or the regulatory framework. So this is an actual bottom approach in order to succeed, especially when you know the problem and when you know the target you want to succeed. So the meaning is to go forward to a business model according to the needs of the area with a respect of the needs. And our business model is based on the people of the area, the local authorities, the NGOs. They want to create the energy community, so the area is ready, and we are waiting for the legislative, let's say, framework in order to establish the business model.
Yeah.
So I think that other places that they have the same problem, let's say, like ours, I think they should build their business model towards this direction and be ready in order to pressure the situation to change.
Yeah, it's a trial and error, and basically, thanks to your experience, probably Cyprus, there will be a better regulation, hopefully, in Cyprus at some point. Thank you. I see that there are a lot of questions already on the board. So one that had a lot of support, how to encourage local authorities, but I know this is not for now, maybe. In Ireland. It's probably not. Tupao, which is the most common business model adopted by the 26 community Osana support.
Yeah, so in Spain we don't have a clear legal framework for energy communities. What we really have is a clear framework, a legal framework for collective self-consumption. And that's why this is the main project that our communities are running. Since 2019, there is a new regulation in Spain on collective self-consumption. It's really clear how you can share the energy among members within 2 kilometers from the generation site. And then that's why there is a business model. We have sun and we have the regulation, and that's why they are going for collective self-consumption.
Okay. I still want to go back to the question that was before, because it was specific to Ireland, but maybe we can turn it more like general question. The question was how to convince the municipality to work with you. I think you guys might have some experience on that, and maybe even if it's not specific to the Irish situation, there might be still some good advice there.
Again, I can talk about our experience here. We are working very close with the regional council, more precisely with the energy agency of the regional council. Last year it was the 20th anniversary of the energy agency, so more than 2 decades working together with municipalities on the energy field. So municipalities are used to work with the energy agency. If the energy agency says now it's time to promote energy communities, they are confident that this is the right thing to do. And I think this was, so having this local entity working with municipalities on the topic, make it the difference So 2 decades working together with them, this make it a difference on being easy to engage with them and with the local authorities.
And Stavros, do you have any feedback on that? Do you have a strong relationship with municipalities?
We don't have municipalities in our areas. We have 110 villages authorities. So yes, we have a good relationships with, we create first of all a local action group 20 years ago. So in the area there is a local action group working, the Troodos Development Company. And the other is the living lab methodology we use. Living lab methodology, we have scientists, the local authorities, the local actors actually, and in every project we are going to promote. We always discuss in this living lab methodology in order to share their opinion, and because all the project is bottom-up approaches, so our project begins from the people, begins from the local authorities, and we share with them the problems, and we're trying to find the best suited solutions for the area. So at this time we have 35 local communities that they support this initiative at this stage, where we're waiting for the RECAH assistance to finish, and now we have the assistant finished. We are going to talk with all the municipalities, of all the local authorities of the area. So I think, yes, always it begins from the local authorities, especially when are villages of small areas. So it always begins, and this, their support is very important in order to be success the project.
Thank you. Joseph, what about in Estonia?
Yeah, I had a comment about the last thing, Stavros, or the before that. Yeah, in Estonia, I think a lot of the ways when we're talking about how to incentivize the lawmakers, it's just we have to set an example with the tools we have, and then we can start. Then they can see that something has to be modified to make it easier to accomplish. But the local communities, we have to find. With every community, they have their own hurdles to tackle. Some regions want to be closer to Europe, which means that they might need some capital inflow, which means that they are really happy to see a green technology company come in. Then we will find a way there. And maybe another community wants to just refurbish their community center, so we have to find a way how they can do that, and then we can talk to the local government. It's kind of the other way around. We have to go to the people, and then we can talk to the local government, because I mean local governments are a little bit is an exaggeration, slower in daily actions than the people who actually need something.
Yeah, thank you. And sometimes, just to close this quick window on local authorities and collaboration with the municipalities, sometimes, at least what we are seeing in energy cities, is also that it's not necessary every single time that the municipality is a member, for example, of the community. Sometimes the external support can also be extremely efficient, so I wouldn't lose hope for the Irish municipalities either. And also, it's on occasion there are also advantages. Think about public procurement, and if the municipality, for example, in Italy, if a municipality is a member, then it won't be able to offer take services from the cooperative or for the energy community, because it would be contrary to the principle of the public procurement law. So, I mean, there are different solutions, I guess, as we said, like every country has its own specificity, but overall collaboration with municipalities is definitely a good way to make our community work faster. Let me take another question here. So I think that might be for you, Joseph, because you talked about grid expansion avoidance in your presentation, and they're asking you if you have considered flexibility service as part of the business model for the communities. But I guess the other can answer too. I guess grid availability is also is a hot topic for many. Okay.
I actually don't know how to answer to that.
Basically, you never consider at the moment that you don't offer this.
No, we haven't considered because our main goal at the moment, as I mentioned, is to connect the local communities to the projects that are developed by the developers, and that seems to be the easiest fast track to tackle our community thing.
And you, Paul?
Yeah, actually we have a couple of communities trying to implement demand response programs, but actually one of our main problems in Spain is about a grid connection, right? Even the legal frame, it's clear. Working with DSOs, it is extremely difficult, and many times once you build the installation, you fill the roof with PV panels, and you have to wait between half a year or 1 year or even sometimes 2 years to connect to the grid these installations. So this means in the terms regarding the financial, the communities are struggling with the financial issues because you have to pay back the credit the first year, right? And so this is really critical. DSOs are improving, but this is still a challenge. This is one of the main challenges for our business model.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And this maybe leads to another question. This in Spain, okay, so the relationship with DSO is probably one of the biggest challenge. What is for you? I'm asking the other two speakers. What is the biggest, just one biggest challenge that you think you're dealing with now? But also, and this again, a question for all of you. So, what is the best thing that you think you did that made your life easier? Let's say, and this is something that maybe other might want to do to facilitate the work of their community. Stavros, do you want to say next? The biggest challenge and also the best thing that you did for your community that worked very well.
Okay, I will agree that the biggest challenge at that time is to create the PV park and the connection with the grid, especially in our area. They give us time that even now, if we're going to design it, it will be sufficient to connection to the grid in 8 years, because the substations I cannot connect any other projects in the area. So this is one problem that we should solve, because we don't know how we'll solve it. And the other challenge is to be established as a legal entity.
It was only one challenge, Stavros.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I know there are many.
Okay. The one goes to others.
But what is the best thing that what worked really well that you can suggest to others in terms of your business and model and legal form? What do you think that worked the most, the best?
Look, an energy community is not just the infrastructure and, let's say, the problem we should solve, but that the fact that people come together in order to co-plan and co-design in order to solve a problem they have. I mean that the energy community and other projects we have done in the future, that is something that bring people together in order to co-plan and co-design their future in order to solve a problem they have, especially in an area that is not something that they have other solution. So I think the fact that we create a new space for the people of in the area to co-plan and co-design the energy transition of their area, and I think it will be something for the future, because it is something that starts now, but it's going to be something for the future.
Thanks, Taras. So basically a model where citizens have as much possibility to intervene and participate as possible. That's very, yeah. And you, Paul, what do you think?
Well, choosing only one challenge is already a challenge. But yeah, if I have to say one, we are struggling now on building a professional team. So going a bit back, our model is a decentralized model, one energy community per municipality. So really based on volunteer work, right? And this is a small or medium municipality, most of them. So our model includes a second-level cooperatives because the Catalan and Spanish law already foresee that. And one of the objectives of the creation of this second-level co-op is that we can professionalize some of the tasks, so not all have to be done from the volunteer work, right? And we are now struggling on building this professional team on the second-level co-op, in OE co-op. And yeah, this would be, I could take another one, it would be financial, but only one.
And the best thing that you did, like what is that worked the best for you?
Probably.
In terms of model, of course.
Yeah, probably, you know, energy communities are really starting. They are planning or implementing their first projects. So they don't have economic capacity, right, to pay for services. Now, from OECOP, we are offering services for free to those energy communities. And this, yeah, okay, the business model of OECOP is that the energy communities will pay for those services later on when they have the capacity. But nowadays, they don't have it. And we are creating this professional team and offering those services for free to those energy communities and let them grow, and later on they will have capacity. But now...
So basically the best is the trust that you put in these cooperatives to one day be able to pay you back to sustain your activity.
You say it better.
Thank you. And to conclude, you, Joseph?
I think amongst us we have already mentioned grid capacity 17 times, so I won't do it again. But I would say warming up the local communities to the idea of forming something, because especially for us, we come from a quite recent Soviet background where everything was owned by the state. And I mean, for us, to have two neighbors sharing a tractor is an issue. Everybody needs to own their own thing because they don't trust anyone. And of course, the grass needs to be greener on your side. So that's the largest issue. And from that, also the best thing we have done or are doing is, as I mentioned, this course thing or finding a similar, it doesn't have to be that, way to engage the community, to welcome and to connect the community with the developer, because I think we are a bit too green yet to hope that the local communities want to make a communal project together. So we have to reel them in. And doing together with the developers helps us and the local communities save a lot of time and paperwork. Yeah.
So collaboration with business.
Collab, exactly. Yeah, business, and also it brings the local government and the politicians, and so it's a big.
Thanks a lot. I think we are close to the end of this session. I wanted to thank each of you for your contribution. And I'm sorry if we couldn't take all the questions, but the good news is that you'll be able to ask those questions during the lunch break to our speakers.
Uh-oh.
I'm volunteering you to give your lunch break to the participants. I'm sorry for that.
I will hide in the toilet.
So thank you. Thanks also to the participant. I'm sure he's just joking, but in case you don't see him, now you know where to find him.
I didn't mention which one.
Thank you, everyone.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah, for this excellent moderation and timely moderation. I see some people a little bit peckish in the audience, so in a few moments you'll be able to indulge into your lunch. Thank you very much, of course, to the speakers as well for their really interesting insights, and I underline the opportunity for those here in presence to be able to ask further questions during the lunch break. In fact, we have designed the lunch break to be as interactive as possible. We want you to, well, we have two setups basically. We have 4 tables which have a dedicated theme in which we invite you to have a general discussion around. There is a table on project development, there's a table on effective communication, there's a table on policy, and there's a table on governance and community facilitation. The idea is that if you have any particular ideas or thoughts or remarks or questions on that topic, it's a very informal discussion. Not at all moderated or regulated, but if you're interested in knowing or asking more on those topics, feel free to do so. If there's not a particular topic that you want to discuss about, but you're open to discussing a more broad or varied set of topics, we have 4 other tables where there are basically some deck cards with multiple topics and talking points, and same informal format to share your thoughts, have a few jokes, and get to know different experiences on those topics. We don't want to oblige you to do this. We think it's just helpful and interactive and promotes the overall networking. If you do want to go into the toilets to have your lunch, you're welcome to, but there's only 1 cubicle, I must say. I suggest going outside. It's quite sunny and pleasant. So just grab your lunch and go there if you don't want to talk energy communities. Lunch will be served in the room here and in the room at the back, the President's Room. The President's Room is where the 4 dedicated topic tables will be. There will be 2 tables with the mixed deck cards there and 2 tables with the mixed decks here. Please, you have 95 minutes, 90 minutes or so I think that's plenty of time. Please do be back here at 2 o'clock sharp, because we have 2 more rounds of discussions, which are, if not more, equally interesting topics as what we've been through this morning. This is also a particular call out to the participants online. We'd really like to maintain this really strong and healthy participation coming from both the room and online. So please do join us again in the afternoon, even if it's on the side of wrapping up some emails or work for the week. We really appreciate you to stay with us. We have around, we started the day with around 200 participants online, and I think we're at 160 or so at the moment, so this is excellent news. I'm glad there's such an appetite to hear about the projects and the topics which we've been discussing, and as I mentioned, I'm sure we can maintain the level of interest and stimulation in the discussions to come. So with that, enjoy your lunch and see you back here at 2 o'clock. Thanks a lot.